It may have taken them a while to get here, but Georgia Cappleman is not playing with them. Day one, the prosecution calls James Geiger. He was the neighbor of Dan Markell. He testified that he heard a loud noise and he looked out the window and saw a light colored Prius peeling out of the driveway. He goes over to check on Dan Markell and notices that he has a wound of some kind to the head, and he calls 911. We also got testimony from Dr. Anthony J. Clark, who was the medical examiner for this case. Child, while he was testifying, that Donna was over there boo-hooing, but I didn't see no tears. And so we get an admonishment already. The judge, outside of the presence of the jury, made sure to remind Miss Adelson to keep her emotions in check. Don't be crying. Don't be making facial expressions. Don't be nodding your head. Don't be doing any of that, or else I'm going to check you in front of the jury. And child, the defense was objecting to everything. They don't want emails between Wendy and Donna read about Donna's disdain for Dr. Markell. I mean, I can imagine why they didn't want that in. They didn't want in emails between Wendy and Donna where Donna was setting her up with people on Match.com after the divorce. Sure. But all of that was allowed as to Donna's state of mind during the time of these crimes. And so that's not a win for the defense at all. Child, I wish my mama would be trying to fix me up on Match.com. Then we get Craig Isom, a retired police officer with the Tallahassee Police. He's the officer that interviewed Wendy at the time of the crime. Baby, Wendy was in there telling all the family secrets. Baby, she told them that her brother had this running joke where he said, I was going to hire you a hitman as a gift, but this TV was cheaper. Why would you tell them that? They allowed her to call her parents to let them know what was going on. And at the end of that call, she said, well, at least she sounds surprised. That's a relief. Then we get our third sidebar of the day, and Judge Everett is pissed. So one of the biggest issues in this case, or the reasoning why they wanted Dan Markell out of the picture, is because Wendy had been asking to relocate her and the boys to Miami. And the relocation was denied by the judge in that divorce proceeding. And so that incited the Adelson family. They had even concocted a plan to bribe him $1 million they were going to pay him if he would just allow Wendy and the boys to move to Miami. And even if he would come to Miami too. And then we get Luis Rivera on the stand, the co-conspirator, one of the trigger men who got a deal for his testimony. It was worth it. So he says that he was brought in by Sigfredo Garcia, which was the connection to Katie McBenoit. So this is how the conspiracy is starting to show up. We're finding out like how all of these pieces are connected. And he says that they made 2 trips to Tallahassee. The first trip to scope out the lay of the land. The second trip was to actually do the deed. They rented a Prius, drove to Tallahassee that morning. They followed Dr. Markell around as he ran his errands. He dropped off the kids. He went to the gym, and then he went home. And when he pulled into his garage, they pulled in behind him. Sigfredo jumped out of the car, and he is the one that did the deed. It's important to note that Rivera was already in prison when he started talking to authorities, and he had already been sentenced for 12 years in that case. And he was given an additional 7 years for this case, but that is because he decided to cooperate. Whew, what is day 2 gonna bring? Y'all